Catholics have continued to try to keep the faith and witness to the faith. And Maximilian Kolbe was one of the great witnesses in the tragic conditions of post-First World War Poland. And he worked really as a journalist and a writer and a apologist for 20 years in a marvelous way, very, very prolific and productive, making sure things got printed, making sure things were, page proofs were corrected, as he spread the gospel, as he spread the teaching of the church, as he spoke of his devotion to the Virgin Mary, as he spoke of his devotion to St. Francis of Assisi. You see in this picture that he's a Franciscan. There he has the white cord, which has got 3 knots tied in it, to poverty, to chastity, and to obedience. And in the interwar period, there was looming the sort of reconstitution and yet the crack up of European Christian culture. The reconstitution in the large number of missionaries, large number of priests and sisters and families, very devoted, all these movements in this sort of fractured Christian culture, which had kind of committed a type of suicide in the First World War, as everyone fought everybody. And then in the 20s, the Roaring 20s, tried to create a secular, democratic culture. Then those cultures slipped by corruption and by lack of faith, slipped into fascism, National Socialism, Nazism, and communism in Europe. And Poland was about to be devoured, as it so often has been in its history, in between the Germans and the Russians, between the Nazis and the Soviets, who made a pact just before the invasion of Poland on September 1st, 1939. And Maximilian will only have 2 more years to live at that point. The Molotov-Ribbentrop-Molotov pact between Germany and the Soviet Union. And part of that was the division of Poland. So the Germans took the western part of Poland and the Soviets took the eastern part of Poland. So Poland was eliminated in 1939 when the Germans and the Soviets attacked. And
well, you know, in the early 30s too, we should mention his trip to Asia.
That's right. He went
first
to
was in Shanghai, and he didn't really gather a following. So he went on to Japan, just on the outskirts of Nagasaki, where he did get a following, and he built a monastery on the side of the mountain there, which did survive the blast. And it's still there today. And then he went back to Poland.
You know, that's quite important. The world sort of is, there's poetry and there's many people have said there's East and there's West and the twain shall never meet. There's a long desire there's a mutual respect. We respect the culture and the dignity of the Oriental cultures, which are sort of mysterious. But there's also been a desire to bear witness there to Christ. China, Japan, all of Asia. And the Jesuit order has always felt that that was a great mission territory. And Pope Francis, as a young man, wished to go to Japan, follow in the footsteps of not only Maximilian Kolbe, but Father Arrupe, the Jesuit superior general from 1965 into the early 1980s. So for 15 important years, Pedro Arrupe was the leader of the Jesuits. And he had also been in Hiroshima, in southern Japan, on the day that Hiroshima was bombed, which, by the way, was the anniversary just a few days ago, August 6th, is the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, and August 9th, the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki. So Maximilian Kolbe, responding to this longing really of the Western Christians to try to bring knowledge of Jesus Christ to these ancient cultures of Asia, also went to Shanghai and to Japan before returning to Poland. And in our own time, of course, we have new relations and new tensions with the Chinese and with Asian culture. And we all long for a true conversion of our own culture in the West, truly should be Christian, and the great Oriental cultures, if they would draw close to Christ, all that was great in those cultures would even be made greater.
Hi, are you ready to get back together with people and talk about our faith? Think about joining us on an Inside the Vatican pilgrimage. Go to InsideTheVaticanPilgrimages.com and see all our latest pilgrimages. Come join us on pilgrimage.